everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and of course we are joined by economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen, and of course we are joined by the legendary author and educational entrepreneur, Robert Kiyosaki, who of course wrote the number one personal finance book of all time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We are also... I just have to thank you for joining us today because I know, obviously, John is a huge fan of you. I'm a big fan of you myself,
Well,
and it's always good to talk to people who are changing the world, especially at the scope that you are. It is a true honor. So now, of course, fundamentals are off the table in both the markets and the monetary system due to the level of manipulation. But in your opinion, how close are we to a massive dollar crash, and what would it look like?
Well, I've been crashing for a long time now. Mm-hmm. So it's just, the question is, when's the end?
Yeah.
And as you guys, I'm talking to the choir here. Mm-hmm. No empire has ever survived when the moment they printed money. And we started printing money in 1971. And that's when Nixon took us off the gold standard. And unfortunately, I would say probably 95% of the American public has no idea what I just said.
It is true.
They have no idea.
Most of the American public doesn't even know what central planning is.
No. So that's kind of the problem. And as you know, my challenge always is to speak to the education system, which is pretty much state controlled. You know, the state, the government controls what is put into your head, and that's why it's actually nothing. You ever sit in school and go, why am I studying this?
Yeah.
How am I going to use this?
It's pretty useless what I had as my education. I'm from Norway, and I don't see anywhere really where I used any of it other than maybe some math or some learning to speak a language, but not very much else. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to learn to read.
Yeah.
You should learn to write, and you should learn to do arithmetic. But I was in Calculus 3 when I finally flunked out. You know? And the only reason I flunked out at Calculus 3. This is my senior year of college or university or academy. I couldn't cheat anymore. I started cheating at Calculus 1. I survived through Calculus 2, but by my what they call our junior year or third year, I couldn't cheat anymore. Yeah. I mean, if I cheated, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So finally I said, well, I'm going to use this stuff. Teacher says, I don't know. And I said, when do you use it? He says, never. And nobody ever asked that question. When am I going to use this stuff? Mm-hmm. And not that education's right or wrong. If you're a rocket scientist, calculus is good. But I'm not a rocket scientist. I never planned on being one.
Yeah. Well, isn't it interesting? I mean, I've often said the best thing I ever did in my life was drop out of school in 9th grade, pick up some books, and start learning for myself. Because it's not that most people don't want to learn. It's just that people don't want to be indoctrinated. And I find some of the smartest people I meet flunked. And I think that is a very telling sign of the world we live in, is that people like Einstein flunked, Stephen Hawking flunked.
Jobs quit, Zuckerberg walked out, Disney never went through school, Branson never went through school.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's very telling, and obviously that's not to say people shouldn't learn, and obviously there's a lot of great private schools out there, and people do get a lot of education from even public schools to a certain extent, but it only is to that extent because it's that indoctrination program that so many of us watch so many people turn into, believers in big government, believers in, manipulated markets and monetary systems, and I think that's so interesting. But all fiat currency eventually reverts to its intrinsic value of zero. It always has, it always will, and we're coming up on the 1,000th year anniversary.
Know what intrinsic value means?
What's that?
Do you realize when I use that word intrinsic value,
they
don't know what it means?
Yeah. Well, no, of course not.
So when I hold up a piece of paper, I said, what is the intrinsic value of this paper? Mm-hmm. And the average person goes, huh? And I said, toilet paper has more value.
Yeah.
And they go, wait. They go, you mean toilet paper is more valuable than this? I said, yeah.
Literally, like 3-ply especially.
Yeah, and the brain goes, don't. It's like ping pong ball. Bing, 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 bing. So they don't understand intrinsic.
Mm-hmm. No, you know what the intrinsic value of the $100 American bill is? It's $1.39. That's how much it costs to actually create it, and then the rest is seigniorage. And that's how they actually make the money. The government, they actually put it back into themselves. So,
Well, it's interesting because, John, you're going to show us something in a second, but as I was saying, we're on the 1,000th year anniversary of paper currency going back to 1024 AD in China. And interestingly enough, what we have right here is one of the first, first fiat currency.
This is actually the first, this is how it looks. I don't know, of course, if it's 100% real, but I bought it at eBay.
If it's Chinese, it's probably been,
it might be fake, but at least
it's probably been knocked off.
Yeah, but this is actually how it looked
you
the
coming
first.
a long way, man.
but this is the first, actually. This is how it looked, the first paper currency that they actually started to print, the Sung Dynasty. And of course, in the Sung Empire, they had a huge middle class that started to build because they started to borrow money out. And then, of course, it collapsed in on itself at the end because it was a massive extent of debt that was printed that, of course, the system just collapsed in on itself. They couldn't pay the debt.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to kind of go into
and
here.
Talk to the average school teacher what this means.
Yeah, no kidding. Money? Anyway, they don't even know what money is. Money must have that intrinsic value. Currency doesn't need that intrinsic value. Currency can just be printed out of thin air, and you can call it whatever you want and give it whatever value you want. Well, not exactly. Eventually, it all comes crashing down. And that's what I kind of wanted to get into quickly, was that central planners are always looking for new ways to push people into debt servitude. And one of the ways they are planning to do this is through centrally planned cashless society, which countries throughout the world are attempting to incorporate into the SDR world currency, the special drawing rights. What are your thoughts on this cashless system, and what do you think the main agenda is to push something like this forward?
Well, first of all, if you understand myself, as the dollar in 71 became debt anyway. Mm-hmm. So then there's so-called financial experts like Dave Ramsey, he's a good friend of mine. And he always says live debt-free. Well, that's good for the middle class. Mm-hmm. But for the rich, you have to learn how to use debt. Mm-hmm. You see, debt is infinite. So when I use debt, my rate of return goes to infinite. Mm. Because when you define ROI, return on investment, if let's say I invest $10 and I get a $1 return annually, that's a 10% ROI. Mm. But if I invest zero, which debt is, because it's not my money, and I get $1, that's an infinite return. Mm. So I personally love debt, whereas most people should listen to Dave Ramsey. And so what scares the what out of most people is when the markets crashed in 2007, 2008, I thought the heavens parted, because, my time had come. My time for being on earth had arrived. Yeah. And I borrowed about $300 million. The average guy can't even borrow $30,000. Yeah. But to be able to borrow $300 million, so my rates of return went to infinite all over the block. Now, when I say that to most people, then debt freezes their brain. They're so afraid of it because they have no financial education. The only debt they know is bad debt, which is credit card debt. Yeah. And when you're walking through the airport, well, hey, get my credit card here. We'll give you airline miles and all that. Well, that's stupid debt. Yeah. And that's where most people are at. So when I say I'm $300 million in debt, the brain is not sophisticated enough to transfer into, well, maybe he's getting rich on that money. Yeah. So debt and taxes make the rich richer. Mm-hmm. And for the average middle class person, even if they have a PhD, they should live debt free.
Well, isn't it interesting that as we've watched these governments put in these regulations that apparently stop the big monopolies, they actually hold down these small businesses and grow these big monopolies at a state level. I think it's very telling and very interesting when you see, a lot of the so-called left stand up and praise the idea of regulating corporations into oblivion when what they're doing is regulating the small businesses into oblivion and just growing in scope and size these massive industries. I think a good example is the pharmaceutical industries with healthcare, just pumping them up and making the price higher and higher. And then it just destroys competition, innovation, employment, the wages that we hear them talking about so often. What do you think about this?
Well, don't tell those stupid people that, every time they cheer for taxing the rich, they're the ones that get taxed. Mm-hmm. The rich don't pay taxes. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if you understand that, then you can wake up. Mm-hmm. See, my whole shtick, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is just about financial education. Mm-hmm. Then there's financial education, and a subset of that is financial literacy. Can you read a financial statement? The average person doesn't even know what a financial statement is. And then financial IQ. IQ is measured on the size of the money problem you can handle. So when I was a kid, $5 was beyond my IQ because I didn't know how to get $5.
Yeah.
And today, I would say my IQ is measured around 50 million. So I can solve a $50 million problem, and the average person can't even pay the rent.
Yeah.
So that's what our school system is lacking. So when they say, oh, they're going to tax the rich and screw the pharmaceuticals and all that, well, you saw today, just today, the Trump Obama, the Trump plan on medical. Well, all the pharmaceuticals and the healthcare industry, stock prices went up. That means,
of course.
Yeah. So that means you guys who are on medical programs are getting screwed. But they go, oh no, it's Obamacare, it's Trump care, and all this. Well, I hate to use the word, but that's how stupid the average person is.
Yeah.
They actually think the government works for them. No, it works for the rich.
Yeah.
The moment you can understand that, then you go, well, what do the rich know? And so, if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's a very simple book. My poor dad was a PhD. PhD stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. Good man. I mean, 80% of all school teachers are very good people. 20% are crooks and scumbags. You know what I mean? That's 80-20.
Yeah, 80-20.
That's the way it goes. But you learn nothing about money in school. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Well, it's the same reason that it's a status. It's a state-controlled institution, is education. And the state wants stupid people, even though you have a PhD. And that's why you dropped out of school. That's why guys like Steve dropped out of school. Gates dropped out of school. I didn't drop out of school. That's how stupid I was.
You learned afterwards.
I was there too at one point. Yeah, I finished my college.
Yeah, I have a Bachelor of Science, which always stands for BS.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can talk about this all you want and what people are doing. The most important question for the listener today is, what are they doing? Are they bitching and moaning, or are they joining the rich? We had an altercation in here a few minutes ago, and he said, well, you're against the government. I'm not against the government. Government makes me rich. I love my government. But if I was an employee, I'd hate my government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're on the right side of the triangle.
Yeah, they don't know the difference. They don't know that employees pay all over the world, employees pay about 40% of their income in tax.
Yeah.
Now, if you're self-employed like a doctor or a lawyer or a small business guy, the small business guy pays about 60%. I pay 0%. The person goes, well, he's a crook. But they don't ever ask the question, how do I not pay any tax?
Yeah.
Obama paid approximately 30% in tax, whereas when he ran against Romney paid about 12%. So Hillary pays, I don't think she pays anything, but anyway, Trump pays 0.
She gets a lot of money from Saudi Arabia, so I think those taxpayers.
Well, you never count money under the table. But anyway, I don't know what she does for her money, but she's basically an attorney. So if she was a legitimate attorney, which there are very few of, she would be paying about 60% of her money in tax in America, whereas a guy like Trump pays 0. And financial education or financial IQ, you would go, well, how did they do that? I mean, if Trump and Romney openly say they pay less in taxes, an intelligent person would say, well, I'd like to know how you do that.
Yeah.
But that's what people don't do. Then they get angry at the government. And I'm not angry at my government. I just want to be on the side that the government favors.
Yeah. I personally would just have to say, I don't think anyone should pay taxes. I think it's extortion. I think that if you want a free market society, you vote with your dollar.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's exactly the point. And this is a message that I hope the viewers are taking in because it's an important one. But you also mentioned Trump there. And of course, you've co-written the books, Midas Touch.
Very, very good man.
Yeah. With with Donald Trump, as people like Dr. Ron Paul point out, presidents have very little say when it comes to the monetary system. I've personally always seen it out of the president's hands almost entirely, considering the global central banking cartel's power. Do you think Trump can do anything at all about the coming fiat dollar crash?
No.
Yeah.
It's preordained. I mean, that's like asking him if he can stop, California from falling into the water.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. I'm okay with that falling into the water. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
he's a good man, but he's not Superman. And, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but when you look at what's happening, you look at what our schools teach you. You go to school, you get a job. What's wrong with that? You pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You work hard. What's wrong with that? You pay taxes. You save money. What's wrong with that? They're printing money.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a house and they call it an asset when it's really a liability. That means how stupid you are. Assets put money in your pocket. A liability takes money from your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't teach you that.
So do you think that this deep state...
So all of this is a tectonic plate ready to fall into the ocean. Then they tell you to invest for the long term in the stock market. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When they got HFT, high frequency trading right now,
Yeah.
when the market's going to push 24,000 before it comes down.
Yeah.
You know how many guys my age, I just turned 70 this year, you know how many guys are going to have zero, nada? The good news is healthcare will keep you living longer. Bad news is you'll be living in a box.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hate to laugh.
No,
It's true, though.
I'd rather just say it like it is and then say, look, wake up.
Well, that's something you're known for. You say it as it is. And I just wanted to add to that last point. Do you think that this deep state infiltration, and it is a deep state, the deep state exists.
What is deep state?
I personally believe that it's groups like the Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, because they have so much power over behind the curtains when it comes to the politicians with their lobby. And I just wonder, do you think that Trump will actually be able to do most of the things that he is saying that he wants to do with this kind of impact from even people within his own cabinet?
Well, Trump has a bad problem I have, which is it's a disease. It's called foot and mouth. And if he would stop the foot and mouth disease, he might get more done. But I think he enjoys, upsetting people. And so I think that's his biggest problem. Now, deep state, look, all I do is I watch the tax law. When I say, okay, I'll go back to it. If you guys are paying taxes, you're doing something wrong. You have bad education. So guys like myself and Trump, we don't pay taxes legally. And you have to ask yourself, well, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And how can I do that? Then you're not so upset with all this other BS about conspiracies and all that, because there's always conspiracies. There will always be. There's always somebody working against you. There's always the ultra-rich who want power. More than anything else, they want power. And what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And I just rather, not step on Superman's cape. I'll just go and play the game. I understand tax law.
Yeah.
I have great accountants, great attorneys.
Have you read all 72,000 pages of the tax code?
Yes,
That's
there's
the
the
difficult
accountants.
part.
Why do you think I flunked out of high school? Because I can't read.
You got those A-listers on your,
No, I don't trust most accountants. You got to find a smart one.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you find a good wife?
Yeah.
You kiss a lot of frogs to find one.
Yeah, eventually. And I mean, I think it's important to point out that, back in 2005, Trump amazingly paid $33 billion, that's crazy, $33 million in taxes. And they were giving him a hard time about that, saying that wasn't enough. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders, who wanted to tax people, 90%, paid about $16 million. And he was complaining about how Trump didn't pay enough taxes. And this is kind of like this double speak that we see so often in the media about when it comes to taxation, because there's so many people out there that they don't have any concept of it. They don't understand where it goes to. They don't understand why it happens. And I think it's important to be able to open that door a bit and explain that to people.
So you know where taxation starts?
At the IRS?
No. The moment you say to your child, or somebody says to you, go to school, get a job, save money, work hard, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market.
Yeah.
That's where it begins. It begins with stupidity.
Yeah, no, totally, it does. And
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I don't want to play that game.
yeah, exactly.
I
No,
agree.
You know, some people play soccer, and I played rugby. Both are called football.
Yeah.
But I like rugby because I can hit people. If you want to dance around like a little priss, play soccer. I love teasing my soccer friends.
Yeah, I'm a soccer player.
Oh, I can tell. Shit. That's a tough sport, but
Yeah, no, it's great. I played some rugby too. It's lovely.
I love hitting people. It's so much fun.
Good. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, so we're talking about people and their beliefs, and especially the number one thing that people really believe that was an asset. It's their house. They believe that was an asset, and of course you so known for saying your house is not an asset. And I tried to say that to so many people. In Canada now, it's like an ATM. They're constantly borrowing more money, buying what you call doodads. All the crappy debt that you can get, and they're not taking that money and investing into something that could make them rich or make them money. So what do you have to people? Can you elaborate a little bit on on why your house is not an asset?
Well, first of all, stupidity is incurable. And what I mean by that is, at least you guys are here. We're here at the Red Pill Expo, and I've come here to learn. Some of the ideas I'm hearing at this Red Pill Expo are outside my comfort zone. I listen to these people, but it's the freedom of speech. I sit here to listen to as many far-out ideas as I can hear.
Yeah, you sat through my far-out ideas, and I very much appreciate that.
I didn't like them, but I don't get it. No, I sit there and listen, and all this. But the average person, the reason they're not rich is they want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just want to be comfortable with ideas that they've adopted. That somebody says your house is an asset. Probably their mother or father who are broke, or their real estate agent who's an idiot. And you want to sit there and be comfortable. Oh yes, my house is an asset. When I was a kid, it was called Polly Wants a Cracker. Polly wants a cracker. My house is an asset. And God bless them, because they make realtors who are just as foolish as they are rich.
Yeah.
Realtors would not exist without idiots.
Yeah. Oh, it's very true.
No,
if a realtor has a picture on their card, run.
well, we've seen just such.
I'm in real estate. Every time some realtor hands me a card with their picture on it, and generally some hot-looking young chick, I say, well, you're nice looking, but I'm not buying that stuff. I'm buying investments.
Yeah. Well, and it's insane what we're starting to watch the repeat of in places like Canada and with Wells Fargo as well, with the mortgage-backed securities, collateralized debt obligations. It's kind of scary because we're seeing something reminiscent here.
Well, it's the same lack of financial education again. You're seeing just a rack up in bad debt all around the world. It's a constant, and people don't understand that how you have the hidden tax inflation destroying you, and then you gotta make sure you make money on your money. If you don't, then you're gonna lose out big time.
Yeah. So.
Well, are you still? I've heard some rumors through the grapevine. Are you still in real estate?
Yeah.
Or have you pulled out? Because I don't know, when you hear things through the grapevine, you're never quite sure because there's no actual documentation of it. But it would be good to ask you yourself.
Well, if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I quote this guy named Ray Kroc, who was the founder of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the movie Founder is out, and it's about Ray Kroc starring Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, my business is real estate. So a lot of people say, well, McDonald's is hamburgers. No, McDonald's business is real estate. Let me tell you the two reasons why I'm in real estate and why Kroc was in real estate. Is because it's the only investment I can use 100% debt and pay no tax. So the only game is nothing but hamburgers or real estate. It's always debt and taxes. So if you understand that, if you're paying taxes and you're saving money, you're an idiot. But it's better to be an idiot than a fool. It's better to know I don't want to study anymore. I just want to pay my taxes, and I want to stay out of debt. Oh, that's good. At least you know who you are.
Yeah.
But what really gets me is when somebody says, should I invest in real estate? I just say to them, are you willing to study? If you're not willing to study, don't do it. Like, people ask about cryptocurrency. I go, should I invest in cryptocurrency? I said, look, you're asking the idiot. I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I don't invest in it. I have no plans on investing in it. And they go, why ask somebody like me who knows nothing?
Yeah.
But ask me about real estate, I know something about. Ask me about debt, I know about tax, because that's the game.
And can't forget silver and gold.
Right? No, but no.
That's not an investment.
No. It's a different attitude.
Insurance.
Look, if I make a mistake, my fallback position is silver and gold.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I don't believe I know all the answers. Mm-hmm. I don't believe I can't make mistakes. So it's silver and gold. The 4 precious metals are silver, gold, guns, and bullets.
Yeah.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So I always have fallback positions, something that's real and tangible. Otherwise, I believe my own BS, Mm-hmm. I drink my own Kool-Aid. And most of these financial planners and stock guys and all that, they're not just drinking Kool-Aid, man. They're taking it down by the gallons. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the market always goes up. Yeah, it goes up on average by 8% per year and all this. And they're smoking something.
Yeah.
Look, I don't believe my own BS. I can make a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. So my fallback position is always gold and silver.
Yeah.
And guns and bullets.
Yeah.
In case I make a mistake. That's all it is.
I'll never forget that very simple line for you that's played about 100 times on Fox News every single day, and that's "I love silver." And
yeah.
I mean, it's true though. It is an incredible insurance of wealth, but it's hard to really predict the long-term stability. We have looked at.
That's called infinite?
Well, no, I'm saying it's hard to tell the long-term stability of it. However, we know preserved value over history has always prevailed. We don't know what people like at Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Scotiabank are doing with it as they are now with the ETFs. However, we know that once that banking system falls, those chains will break as well. And silver
what
and
you're
gold
talking about is they're trading on the futures market.
Yes.
Yeah, and people are borrowing it and betting on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but silver will be around long after I'm gone.
No, I agree with you. What I'm getting at is in the temporary circumstances that we face right now, with a lot in the derivatives market, a lot in with these people at Deutsche Bank, which were caught red-handed twice last year in a court of law, manipulating the prices of gold and silver alongside banks such as HSBC, Scotiabank.
Try LIBOR.
Yeah.
Yeah, LIBOR. Yeah. Biggest one, yeah.
When you manipulate the interest rates, you manipulate the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And the average American eating their ice cream cone right now doesn't even know what LIBOR means.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I just wanted to point out that, people are worried about silver and gold at this moment because of the temporary chains that from these paper ETFs and just the vast manipulation in the market.
You just buy it and hold it. I buy it and I don't care. I keep it away at a safe place.
I'm in trouble with buying an ETF. Let's say I spend $10 in ETF. Mm-hmm. I redeem it. They pay me back in dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would I? I don't want the dollar.
Yeah.
I want real gold and silver. But the reason nobody ever asked me why do you recommend silver is because I don't think I'm that smart. And silver will be smarter than me 10 years from now and 100 years from now.
And knows history.
I'm just hedging my positions. Mm-hmm. And when somebody right now in America or in Canada that have RRSPs, that's stupid. Mm-hmm. 401ks, IRAs, trust in the government on your pension plan, that's stupid. Mm-hmm. Why would you trust a human being when you can trust a piece of silver?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather have something like silver.
Yeah. I personally like to diversify, but I absolutely agree silver is by far the most standout precious metal, and I think that historically we've seen this time and time again, since as far as we can go back to where wheat was money, it's always stood its ground. It's got its preserved value, and if people were paid the same minimum wage that they were in the 1960s, early 1960s, in silver in the United States, they would be making far over $15 an hour today at that same rate, which is an interesting thing when you consider inflation.
That hurts my brain thinking about working for money.
Yeah, so don't.
Anyway,
lesson number one in Rich Dad Poor Dad read the book is that rich don't work for money.
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to work for assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But our school system teaches you to go to school and get a job, work for money, pay taxes. Mm-hmm. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
Because all you are is a tax mule for the government. You just make the rich richer. Mm-hmm. You think the rich pay taxes? They don't pay taxes because they don't have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And isn't it interesting that young people, especially today, too often say, "Why can't I be rich?" or why can't I be successful, instead of what can I do to be successful. I see this time and time again, especially the millennial generation that I'm unfortunately part of in that collective kind of circus that it is. But what do you attribute this to?
I have no idea. I mean,
I ask you because you're obviously an incredibly successful person. And
well, I was born poor. That's one of my biggest advantages. I didn't have the luxury of daddy paying for my college education. I didn't have that. And my old man did me the biggest favor at age 50, because I flunked out of high school twice. I would have gone for the trifecta, but for some reason they saved me with a D in senior year. But I just knew school was bullshit as a young kid. I learned most of my life, my financial education, playing Monopoly. You just play Monopoly, you'll be a rich person. And the formula for great wealth is 4 greenhouses, red hotel.
Yeah.
So my wife, who has a degree in business, and she said, I learned nothing about this in school, she has 6,000 greenhouses. You figure if everyone's giving her $100 a month, she doesn't need a job. And you don't pay tax upon that. You're going to go, well, how did they do that? We could play Monopoly.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of a screw up in school. That's my excuse. But I was just bored, and I wanted to play Monopoly. And I play Monopoly every single day. It's a great game. My wife has several big red hotels now, and it's a game. It's not serious. If we lose, the bank gets the hotel back because we have no equity in it.
Yeah.
It's all debt.
Yeah.
When you think about that, you go, how did they do that? That's financial IQ. It's how do you solve that problem? How did they do that? But most people say, they're crooks, or they're rich or greedy, or, I have job security. Well, that's all your belief systems. That's all it is. Yeah. It's inside between your ears, And that's all my message is. Do I love my government? Not necessarily, but I'm on the side of the government. The reason I get tax breaks is I do what the government wants done. Yeah. The government doesn't want employees. Let me tell you something. That's why they tax you. Yeah. So they want me to hire people. So I have several thousand through my different partnerships. I have several thousand employees. I get tax breaks. But if I am an employee, I pay tax. And the other thing too is if I use debt, I pay no tax. Okay. If I buy real estate because I'm providing housing, I pay no tax. But if I own a house, I pay tax. I own 4 houses. I pay tax on those houses because they're personal residences. But my wife's 6,000 rental units plus hotels plus all that, we pay no tax on because that's what the government wants me to do. So that's when that character just said, I'm anti my government. I said, no, I'm quite happy with my government. I'm just on the side they don't mess with.
You benefit, sure. And that's understandable from your position.
That's totally fine, of course, because people need to understand that the system is flawed, but
No, it's perfect for me. Don't say it's flawed.
It's flawed for me, though. It's quite flawed for me.
Well, because you didn't go to school yet.
Yeah. No, but,
sure,
but anyway.
You should become a doctor or a lawyer, then you really get screwed.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to be.
No, but it all comes back to what's your financial IQ in the different assets that you're trying to invest in, and then the higher your IQ, the more money you make. It's
the more you control your cash flow.
The cash flow.
Look, the only two financial education evolves from only 2 words: cash flow. Is the cash flowing out, or is the cash flowing in? If I may plug my latest book coming out, my Rich Dad Poor Dad's 20-year anniversary. Okay, nothing has changed. Inside of it, what has changed is how the world has changed, but the story of Rich Dad, the messages or the lessons are true. More true today than when I wrote the book 20 years ago. But my latest book is called Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. What is financial education really? It's not save money. Savers are the biggest losers going. Today, what's the interest rates in Norway right now?
Well, we're looking at like 0.5%.
Yeah, why would you save money when the government's printing at 5?
Yeah.
You got to be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm saving money. I'm going, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But they don't know any better. Okay. So the latest book, Why the Rich Are Getting Richer, comes out next month. In there, I have Rich Dad TV, and it's my smiling face telling the story of Rich Dad Poor. The reason for TV is most people are idiots. They can't read. So my customer is the person who buys my book, and Rich Dad TV is for you to sit down with your friends and show them TV.
Yeah.
They might watch TV, they won't read the book. So in the book, in Why the Rich Are Getting Richer, there's 10 lessons. Awaken your financial genius. It's about taxes. It's about debt. It's about investing. It's about making mistakes. All the things that make the rich richer. The problem is everything I say in those 10 lessons go against what they teach you in school.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And I think school is more the bigger enemy. Because they want you to be an employee, to work for the government, to save money, pay taxes, and invest for the long term in the stock market. You got to be crazy today. That's the worst advice possible. Where are the jobs? Go to school and get a job. In America, you come out with a student loan debt, the worst type of debt possible, right? And with AI, artificial intelligence coming on, and robots coming on, the Uber drivers, I pray for them because pretty soon you don't need an Uber driver, you just need a robot.
Yeah.
And then auto, which is this, I think Mercedes got them, is that all those long distance truck drivers you see going across Canada and the U.S. hauling wheat and stuff, you don't need a truck driver anymore. I was a pilot in Vietnam. I went back to my squadron in Florida. They're not training pilots, they're training drone pilots. You don't need a pilot today.
Video game controller, that's all you need.
So everything is changing, yet people still say to their kids, go to school, get a job, pay taxes, save money, buy a house, because it's an asset, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market. That's the worst possible advice today. It worked for my father's generation, the World War II generation. It doesn't work for the Vietnam generation. It's not going to work for your generation. That's the problem. That's why people are angry. They think it's the government's problem, and it is, but it's your personal problem. It's lack of financial education.
Total apathy, I think, among a lot of people.
Oh, they're comfortable. Americans, I saw this book, I didn't get it. It was Fat, Dumb, and Stupid. Oh, Fat, Broke, and Stupid. The story of the American people. I went, how cruel, but when you look around you, there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah, it's very true. No, it's very, I would say it's very interesting how, the world has changed so much since you wrote the Rich Dad Poor Dad. As you said, it's completely the same. Nothing is really changed other than it's even worse now than when people start.
Well, it's coming true now.
Yeah, it's coming
true. And that's
true.
why we're at Red Pill Expo in here. I've come, I'm not real religious. I flunked out of Sunday school.
Another school. Yeah, there we go.
But one of the best lessons I learned in Sunday school was the three wise men. Now, the three wise men are really the story, not Jesus. You see, what made them wise? What they were still seeking. You see, the wise man or woman still seeks. And the guy that's going to go broke is sitting at home right now eating their chocolate bar, watching the Kardashians. People like to pick on the Kardashians. I personally like Jerry Springer better. But anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're toast. They know they're toast. My generation, baby boomers, like I said, the good news are going to live longer. Bad news, it's going to be in a cardboard box. Or they move in with their kids, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You know what I mean? But they'll sit there and eat their chocolate bonbons and watch Jerry Springer. And I like that. I like Jerry Springer. It's entertainment.
When you're as productive as many of us here at the Red Pill Expo, it's almost depressing to sit down and watch Netflix for hours on end because you're not getting anything done. And I don't know, personally, I can't sit and watch TV for long periods of times without getting a little bit depressed at the fact I'm doing absolutely nothing. And it's hard to watch other people do that too.
Well, I hate to say it, but I am the TV generation. You guys are the cell phone. I watch a lot of TV, but I watch stuff that is of interest. I learn a lot. And there's two great movies I could plug them. One of them is Gold with McConaughey. I lived through that. I started a gold mine in China, and the Chinese government stole it from me. And so everything that happened in the movie Gold, which was about BRICS, not Brexit, BRICS, that goes on. It's a story of entrepreneurship. You want to find out what entrepreneurs do, watch Gold. And if you want to know what entrepreneurs do, watch Founder about McDonald's.
Absolutely.
So it's not all bad. It's that you got to choose what you're putting into your head. Like I watch CNBC a lot just because I want to see how much they're lying to me. Because
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing with CNN. I can't stand the channel, but I watch it because I want to be ahead of my enemy.
CNN is continuous negative news.
Or Communist News Network, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's entertainment.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's all it is. It's a dog and pony show. It's breads and circuses. And in the end, we need to, as individuals, be responsible for ourselves and do what we need to
Step
do.
up.
So
and
if I
take
could
action.
plug my Rich Dad TV,
Yes.
it's in my latest book, Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. It's free. So you read the book, you watch Rich Dad TV, then you get your brother-in-law who's an idiot and sit down and watch the TV with him and discuss it. You may get some brain cells moving, but otherwise we can sit and complain about it. But I actually think that my future is very bright because when this crash comes, I won't get richer. That's my only attitude I can have.
Yeah.
And we know it's coming. But that means I'm going to have a lot of people who are going to get wiped out. My generation, baby boomers, are going to get wiped out. They're toast.
Oh, it's
Yeah, we actually did a report not too long ago just on that and the demographics and the way it looks like in the near future, because of course baby boomers spend more into the economy than anyone else, and
They did.
They
Yeah, they
well,
did, yeah.
and
Now
now
they're- yeah.
kids are coming up in debt from
Well, they're
university,
downsizing,
college,
and now they
etc.
want to sell their assets, and there's nobody to buy their assets.
But just
Because they're not assets, they're liabilities.
Yeah, yeah.
there we
Exactly.
go. So closing it off, I'd like to thank you so much for talking with us. You've influenced so many people. I've come across so many people here today that say, I'm here for Robert Kiyosaki, I'm here for J. Edward Griffin, etc. There's so many people that are influential here, and you've been able to influence a lot of people, and I thank you for that, including this man right
Well,
here.
And in Winnipeg, like I don't know how many people I've sat down with, play the cash flow game.
Thank you for doing
and they're business people now. You know, it's changed their lives.
The cash flow game changes our whole viewpoint.
Yeah.
It changes them from income to assets. I mean, do you know the average guy doesn't even know what a financial statement is?
Yeah, exactly.
America, they call FICO scores. Canada, they have RRSPs. And I go, you don't know jack.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. But they're quite comfortable.
Yeah. Well,
And I'd like to give a shout out to Stefan Arnio, who was on Real Estate Cruise with you not too long ago, who is also a big fan and very successful, who built himself up from almost nothing to.
he
being
had zero
very-
money.
Yeah.
He went zero down.
Because you don't need money.
No.
Yeah.
You need brains.
Yeah, exactly.
And once again, the wise man still seeks.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's not about Jesus. It's about the wise guy.
Yeah.
Wise man, wise guy,
Yeah,
wise
yeah.
man. I'm here because I need new ideas. That's all. Some of the ideas I like. Some of them are too far out of the box, but that's what I want. Other people just want to sit and eat bonbons.
Absolutely. So closing that off at that very important point, as you mentioned several times before, your network is your net worth, and I truly do believe that. Unfortunately, you're not in our network, but I really appreciate you sitting here with us today, and it's very important for people to take in this information. So thank you again, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I really hope people continue to be influenced by you, as I'm sure they will. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys for doing what you're doing, because it's nice to see the work continue.
Absolutely.
So keep going, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you like what you see here at WHAM? Well, make sure to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube. You can also see our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And also find us on steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid to blog via cryptocurrencies. You can find me at Josh Sigurdson. So we hope to see you there. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.